Apply. Tonight, imagine walking through history's grand halls where walls whisper secrets of gold, jewels, and kingdoms long gone. Apply. From the ruthless pirates of the open seas to the mighty pharaohs of ancient Egypt, treasures worth billions vanished into thin air. Some say stolen, others believe cursed. Apply. And many remain hidden beneath the sands of time. These aren't just stories, they are unsolved mysteries of our world waiting to be uncovered. And tonight, Apply, you and I, we step into that mystery together. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, subscribe, apply, and comment your favorite treasure mystery, because your voice helps keep this journey alive for seekers around the globe. In the year 1820, Apply, a storm of revolution swept across South America, toppling empires and forcing rulers into exile. Among the chaos, one of the greatest treasure stories in human history was born. Apply. The city of Lima in Peru, rich with centuries of gold, silver, and jewels from the Spanish Empire, was suddenly threatened by rebel forces. The Spanish, desperate to protect their wealth, Apply, gathered an enormous fortune: gold bars stacked like walls, crates of silver, dazzling diamonds, emeralds, and priceless religious relics. Apply, including a life-sized statue of the Virgin Mary fashioned from pure gold and encrusted with rubies. This staggering fortune, Apply, some say worth over $200 million in today's value, was entrusted to a British captain, William Thompson. His mission, Apply, to transport the treasure safely across the seas to Mexico, where it would be secured until Spanish control was restored. But greed has a way of rewriting destiny. Apply. Once the treasure was loaded onto the ship, Mary Dear Thompson and his crew faced a temptation unlike any other. The gold glimmered in the lantern light of the ship's hold. Apply. Each coin echoing with the power to transform a man's life forever. The sailors began to whisper among themselves, Apply. Why deliver this unimaginable wealth to kings and rulers when they themselves held it in their hands? The decision was made in the shadows of the ocean waves. They would betray the crown, Apply, murder the Spanish guards aboard, and claim the treasure for themselves. The massacre was swift and bloody, and by dawn, Apply, the deck of the Mary Dear was silent except for the creaking of timber and the crash of waves. Captain Thompson ordered the ship toward Costa Rica, Apply, where he and his men would hide the fortune on a remote island cloaked in mist and jungle. Their legend says the chests of gold and jewels were buried deep into the earth, Apply, hidden beneath rocks, trees, and possibly even caves. The island would later become known as Cocos Island, a place forever tied to whispers of the lost treasure of Lima, Apply. But fate was not kind to the traitors. Soon after, the ship was captured by Spanish authorities, and the crew was executed for their betrayal, Apply. Only Thompson and his first mate were spared, but only because the Spanish believed they could lead them back to the hidden fortune. Shackled, starved, and interrogated, Apply. Thompson never revealed the location. Some say he promised to guide them, only to leap into the jungle and vanish forever. Others insist he carried the secret to his grave, Apply, leaving the treasure untouched, waiting for another age to uncover it. For over 2 centuries, explorers, adventurers, and dreamers have chased the story. Pirates, fortune hunters, Apply. Even governments have mounted expeditions to Cocos Island. Each time they return with nothing but maps, rumors, and frustration, Apply. The island itself has become a character in the legend, its cliffs, caves, and dense forests hiding not only treasure but also danger. Some explorers reported strange lights, Apply, as if ghostly lanterns flickered at night, guarding the treasure. Others vanished into the wilderness and were never seen again. The jungle keeps its secrets. Today, Apply, the treasure of Lima remains one of the most tantalizing mysteries of the sea. Modern technology, satellites, and sonar have been used to scour the island, Apply, yet the gold has never been found. Some believe it was cursed, destined to remain forever, hidden as punishment for the betrayal that birthed it, Apply. Others cling to the belief that the treasure lies just beyond the reach of human hands, waiting for the right discoverer, Apply. And then there are those who whisper that perhaps Thompson never buried it at all, but carried it further, scattering it across unknown shores. The legend continues to fuel imaginations, Apply, inspiring countless novels, documentaries, and tales of adventure. But the question remains as haunting today as it did in 1820. Did the gold of Lima ever truly rest beneath Cocos Island, Apply, or is it still wandering the world, a ghost of lost empire and human greed? Somewhere, perhaps right now, those chests of gold and jewels lie in silence, Apply, waiting for footsteps that may never come. They called it the 8th wonder of the world, a room so dazzling, so impossibly beautiful, Apply, that those who entered often fell silent in awe. This was the Amber Room, a chamber built not of stone or wood, but of golden-hued amber panels, Apply, glowing as if the very walls were alive with sunlight. Imagine walking into a hall where every surface shimmered amber polished to glass, decorated with gold leaf, mirrors, mosaics, Apply, and precious stones. Crafted in the early 1700s in Prussia, then gifted to Peter the Great of Russia, the Amber Room was more than a masterpiece. It was a symbol of power, diplomacy, Apply, and the grandeur of empire. For 200 years it stood in the Catherine Palace near St. Petersburg, a place where emperors and empresses entertained. Apply, where secrets of state were whispered beneath the glow of golden light. But its beauty would also be its curse. When World War II erupted, the Amber Room became a target. The Nazis, obsessed with art and treasures of history, had long admired its brilliance. In 1941, as German forces advanced toward Russia, curators desperately tried to protect the chamber. Apply. They covered the amber with wallpaper, hoping to disguise it as an ordinary room. But amber is fragile, and attempts to move it caused the panels to crack and crumble. Apply. When Nazi soldiers stormed the palace, they saw through the disguise. Within days, they dismantled the room piece by piece. Amber panels, gilded carvings, apply, even the intricate mosaics, and packed them into crates. The room that had taken craftsmen decades to perfect vanished into wooden boxes loaded on trains bound for Königsberg, apply, Germany. For a time, the Amber Room was displayed in Königsberg Castle, glowing once again under German command. But as the war turned against the Nazis, fear gripped those who guarded it. The Allies bombed the city relentlessly, fires raged, and in the chaos of 1944, the Amber Room disappeared. Apply. Some say it was destroyed in the flames that consumed the castle. Others claim it was hidden in mines, tunnels, or even sunken aboard a ship fleeing across the Baltic Sea. Apply. Witnesses spoke of convoys in the night, of crates quietly removed before the final bombardment, but no one could ever prove where it went. In the decades that followed, Apply, the Amber Room became one of the most famous lost treasures in history. Treasure hunters, historians, even governments launched expeditions to track it down. Apply. Some combined the ruins of Königsberg, now Kaliningrad, hoping to uncover hidden vaults. Others searched salt mines in Poland and Germany, where the Nazis were known to stash stolen art. Apply. There were whispers of crates beneath lakes, of amber panels carried to secret bunkers in the Harz Mountains, but every expedition ended the same way. Apply, with empty hands and unanswered questions. The mystery only deepened when fragments of the room occasionally resurfaced. In the 1990s, Apply, a single mosaic panel from the Amber Room was discovered in Germany in the possession of the son of a soldier who had served during the war. Apply. Its survival seemed to confirm that not all was destroyed in the fires of Königsberg. If one piece had escaped, perhaps the rest was still out there hidden waiting. Meanwhile, Apply, Russia refused to let the legend fade. In 2003, after decades of painstaking craftsmanship, a full-scale reconstruction of the Amber Room was unveiled in the Catherine Palace. Apply. It cost millions of dollars and countless hours of labor as artisans studied old photographs and surviving fragments to bring the masterpiece back to life. Apply. Visitors today can once again stand in a room bathed in amber glow, a breathtaking resurrection of what was lost. But for all its beauty, it is a replica, a shadow of the original. Apply. The true Amber Room, the one that captured the imagination of kings and conquerors, still lingers in mystery. Was it reduced to ashes in the war's chaos? Apply. Is it sealed away in a forgotten bunker, the amber slowly decaying in the dark, or does it lie beneath the sea, entombed in a sunken ship, waiting for the light of discovery? Apply. The questions remain haunting and unresolved. The Amber Room was built to be eternal, yet it lives now only in fragments, replicas, and legends, an echo of glory stolen by greed, swallowed by war and hidden by time. Apply. Beneath the shifting sands of Egypt and the murky waters of the Nile lies a story as mysterious as the pyramids themselves, a story of treasures lost. Apply. Swallowed not by thieves or invaders, but by the earth and water that gave birth in the world's greatest civilizations. For thousands of years, Apply, the Pharaohs reigned with unimaginable wealth, adorning themselves with crowns of gold, staffs encrusted with jewels. Apply, and burial chambers filled with treasures meant to carry them into the afterlife. These were not just symbols of luxury, they were sacred promises to the gods, offerings of power, faith, Apply, and eternity. Yet many of these riches vanished, hidden beneath rivers, lakes, and ruins that time has buried, leaving behind whispers of sunken treasures waiting to be uncovered. Apply. One of the most haunting tales comes from the lost city of Heracleion, once a glittering gateway to Egypt's trade with the Mediterranean world. For centuries, Apply, it thrived as a city of temples, ships, and wealth flowing in from across the seas. Then, as if cursed, the city disappeared. Around once 200 years ago, Apply, earthquakes and rising waters swallowed Heracleion whole, dragging palaces, statues, and treasure beneath the waves of the Nile Delta. For centuries, it became a legend. Apply, a story dismissed as myth until divers in the year 2000 stumbled upon colossal statues lying silent in the seabeed, broken yet majestic. Alongside them were gold coins. Apply. Intricate jewelry and temple artifacts preserved in the sand. The discovery shocked the world, proving that Egypt's sunken treasures were more than a tale. They were real. Apply, and if parts of Heracleion had been recovered, how much more might still lie undiscovered beneath the waters? But Heracleion is not the only mystery. Apply. The Nile itself is a river of secrets. Countless temples, shrines, and even royal tombs were built along its banks, and when floods came or when earthquakes shook the earth, apply. Many of these structures collapsed into the water. Priests recorded tales of sacred relics lost to the river, relics dedicated to gods like Osiris and Isis. Apply. Treasures meant to ensure the balance of life and death. Imagine somewhere in the muddy depths, golden amulets, carved sarcophagi, and sacred scrolls still rest untouched. Apply. Guarded by silence time. Then there is the legend of Pharaohs' barges, grand ceremonial boats said to carry offerings of gold, precious stones, and statues during great festivals. Apply. Some of these barges, according to ancient writings, capsized in storms or were swallowed by whirlpools. If true, they may still be preserved in riverbeds, their treasures intact. Apply. Locked away in darkness for millennia. Archaeologists have long debated these stories, but scattered discoveries, ornate carvings, anchors, apply, and ceremonial relics hint that the legends may hold truth. Even more haunting are the tales of tombs lost to the water. While some of Egypt's most famous pharaohs, Tutankhamun, apply, Ramses and others were buried in the Valley of the Kings, others were entombed in lesser-known locations. Floods and collapses erased their resting places, apply, sealing their treasures forever. Entire burial chambers filled with gold masks, alabaster jars, and offerings apply, may lie entombed not beneath stone pyramids, but beneath rivers and marshlands where no explorer has yet dared to search. In recent years, technology has begun to peel back the curtain. Apply. Sonar scans, underwater archaeology, and satellite imagery reveal hints of ruins and shapes beneath the Nile Delta waiting to be mapped. Each new discovery stirs excitement. Apply. A golden vessel here, an inscribed slab there. But for every treasure uncovered, dozens more remain out of reach, concealed by layers of sediment and shifting currents. Apply. Some believe the greatest treasures of Egypt, those meant for gods and kings, were never looted by invaders, but instead preserved by nature itself. Apply. Hidden until fate allows them to be found. The thought is haunting that beneath calm waters, beneath fields of reeds swaying in the wind, lies a kingdom of gold and stone. Apply. As vast as anything we see above ground. Pharaohs who once ruled the world may still rest with their treasures, their spirits watching over their hidden wealth. Apply. Divers who search for them often describe a strange feeling in the depths, as if unseen eyes are watching, as if the gods themselves are guarding what was lost. Apply. The mystery of Egypt's sunken treasures lingers like a ghost on the water. Were they swallowed by chance or by design, protected from plunderers by nature itself? Apply. Each artifact pulled from the Nile offers a clue, yet the full story remains untold. Somewhere in the depths of Egypt's rivers and seas, the pharaohs still keep their secrets. Apply. Their treasures waiting in silence, untouched by time, calling to those bold enough to seek them. They were warriors, monks, and guardians of secrets. The Knights Templar, apply, a brotherhood sworn to protect pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land during the Crusades. But as their power grew, so did their wealth. Over 2 centuries, apply, the Templars became one of the most powerful organizations in Europe. They built castles, controlled vast lands, and operated one of the earliest banking systems in the world. Apply, holding deposits for kings and nobles. Their treasure, it is said, was beyond imagination. Gold, silver, holy relics, sacred manuscripts. Apply, and artifacts that some claimed carried divine power. Yet just as swiftly as they rose, the Templars fell, and with their fall came one of history's most enduring mysteries. Apply. What happened to the treasure of the Knights Templar? The year was 1307. On the orders of King Philip IV of France, who was deeply in debt to the Templars, apply. Knights across the realm were suddenly arrested on charges of heresy, idolatry, and corruption. The once respected order was declared enemies of the church. Apply. Many of its leaders were imprisoned, tortured, and burned at the stake. Their lands were seized, their power dismantled, and the order was officially dissolved by Pope Clement V. Apply. But when soldiers raided Templar strongholds, they expected to find enormous wealth, the gold, jewels, and sacred relics that had been the envy of Europe. Instead, apply, they found almost nothing. The treasure of the Templars had vanished. Rumors spread quickly, feeding the fire of legend. Some said that in the days before the arrests, apply, the Templars had moved their fortune in secrecy, loading chests of gold and relics onto carts that slipped away under cover of night. Apply. Others whispered that the knights carried their treasure to the coast, where it was loaded onto ships and sailed across the sea, never to be seen again. Apply. The fleet that once flew the Templar flag disappeared from the records. Apply, fueling speculation that their ships carried not only their wealth, but also secrets that could shake the foundations of Christianity. Apply. Among the most tantalizing whispers is the idea that the Templars possessed holy relics of unimaginable importance, the Holy Grail, the Ark of the Covenant, apply, or fragments of the True Cross. Whether these were real or legend, the association between the Templars and hidden relics only grew stronger with time. Apply. Stories place their treasure in far-off lands buried beneath Rosslyn Chapel in Scotland, hidden in secret vaults in Switzerland. apply, or even carried across the Atlantic to what would later become North America. Each theory sparked new waves of treasure hunters and explorers, apply, determined to unearth what the knights had concealed. In the centuries that followed, the mystery deepened. Secret societies claimed descent from the Templars, apply, guarding their hidden knowledge and perhaps their wealth. The Freemasons in particular were often linked to the Templar legacy, apply, with rituals and symbols said to echo those of the ancient order. Was their treasure truly material wealth, or was it knowledge, books, scrolls, apply, and secrets that could rewrite the story of the church and the world? The idea that the Templars guarded truths too dangerous to reveal has only made their legend more irresistible. Apply. Archaeologists and historians continue to search for traces of the Templar horde. In France, underground tunnels and catacombs have been explored. Apply. Some bearing Templar insignia carved into stone. In Jerusalem, beneath the Temple Mount, where the Templars once established their headquarters, apply, excavations have uncovered chambers and passageways that suggest treasures may have been hidden there. In Nova Scotia, apply, the mysterious Oak Island money pit has long been tied to the Templars, with strange symbols and artifacts hinting at a link. Yet, despite centuries of searching, apply, the treasure remains elusive. Perhaps the greatest mystery is not whether the Templars' treasure was gold or relics, but what it symbolized. The order was more than a military force, apply. It was a network of knowledge, faith, and influence that stretched across continents. When it was destroyed, something far greater than wealth was lost, apply. What survives today is the echo of their power, the legends of their hidden riches, and the tantalizing possibility that somewhere beneath stone, earth, or sea, apply, the treasure of the Knights Templar still waits. In the high Andes of South America, where mountains pierce the sky and jungles conceal ancient paths, apply, there lingers a legend so powerful it has captivated treasure hunters for centuries. The story of the lost Inca gold of Atahualpa, the last emperor of the mighty Inca Empire, apply, ruled over a civilization rich in artistry, architecture, and unimaginable wealth. Apply. Gold to the Inca was not merely currency, it was what of the sun, a sacred gift from their god Inti, used to adorn temples, craft ceremonial objects, and honor the divine. Apply. But when the Spanish conquistadors arrived in the 16th century, led by Francisco Pizarro, this sacred metal became a curse. Apply. It was the beginning of a tragedy that would end with one of the greatest treasures in human history vanishing without a trace. Captured by Pizarro's forces in 1532, apply, Atahualpa was held hostage in a desperate bid to break the power of the Inca Empire. To secure his freedom, the emperor made a promise that astonished the Spaniards. Apply. He would fill a room with gold. Not just any room, legend says he pointed to the chamber where he was kept and marked a line high on the walls. That space, he swore, apply, would be filled with solid gold objects, while 2 adjoining rooms would be filled with silver. Over the next months, treasures flowed in from across the empire, golden statues, apply, intricately worked jewelry, silver goblets, ceremonial ornaments, and priceless artifacts that carried centuries of culture and devotion. The sheer scale of the ransom was beyond belief. Apply. By some estimates, it would equal hundreds of millions of dollars in modern value. The Incas dismantled temples, stripped palaces, apply, and gathered everything they could to satisfy their emperor's promise. Llamas carried heavy loads through mountain passes, caravans descended from the highlands, apply, and boats crossed rivers, all bringing wealth to Cajamarca, where Atahualpa was imprisoned. But the ransom would never buy his freedom. Apply. Despite receiving more treasure than they had ever imagined, the Spaniards betrayed Atahualpa. In 1533, after a mock trial, apply, he was executed, strangled by Garrett while his people mourned. The treasure already collected was seized and melted down into ingots to be shipped to Spain, apply, where much of it was lost to piracy or spent on endless wars. But here lies the heart of the mystery. Not all the treasure ever arrived. According to Inca lore, apply, massive portions of the ransom were still on the way. When word reached the caravans that Atahualpa was dead, faced with the knowledge that their emperor had been killed, apply, the Inca faithful chose not to deliver the gold. Instead, they hid it. Legends tell of convoys of llamas loaded with gold disappearing into mountain caves. Apply. Others say vast treasures were buried deep in the jungles of Ecuador and Peru, concealed in secret chambers known only to priests. Apply. Some even claim that entire lakes were used as hiding places, with chests of gold thrown into the water to keep them from falling into Spanish hands. Apply. One of the most enduring tales places part of the treasure in Lake Urcos near Cusco, while others suggest hidden vaults in the Andes. Apply, sealed with stone and guarded by curses to deter intruders. Over the centuries, countless explorers have hunted for the lost Inca gold. Adventurers, scholars, apply, and even governments have searched caves, dived into lakes, and mapped the jungles. In the 20th century, apply, stories emerged of locals stumbling upon golden idols or strange tunnels filled with carvings, but no one ever uncovered the full treasure. Apply, those who pursued it too eagerly often met misfortune, lost expeditions, sudden illnesses, Apply. Mysterious accidents adding to the belief that the hoard is protected by more than just nature. Apply. What makes the legend so powerful is not just the gold itself, but the sense of betrayal and defiance it represents. Atahualpa's ransom was a symbol of hope. Apply. A desperate attempt to save a people and an empire. Apply. The fact that so much of it never reached the Spanish speaks to the loyalty of the Inca, who refused to let their sacred wealth be desecrated. Today, apply. The story lingers as one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of history. Somewhere in the vast landscapes of the Andes, mountains, jungles, rivers, apply, or lakes, chests of gold and silver may still rest where they were hidden nearly 500 years ago. Treasure hunters still dream of finding it. Archaeologists still debate its fate. Apply. And every stone path or misty valley in Peru may conceal the answer. Did the Inca treasure truly vanish forever, or is it waiting in silence, untouched and undisturbed until someone, apply, centuries later follows the footsteps of those loyal couriers and uncovers the ransom of an emperor betrayed? The name Blackbeard still sends a shiver down the spine. Apply. Even 3 centuries after his death, Edward Teach, the pirate the world came to know as Blackbeard, was not just a marauder of the seas, he was a legend larger than life. Apply. Wrapped in smoke and fire, with a thick black beard braided into coils, slow-burning fuses tucked under his hat, and a reputation for ruthless cunning. Apply. He terrorized the Caribbean and the American colonies in the early 1700s. Wherever his flag appeared on the horizon, ships surrendered without a fight. Apply. Knowing resistance meant destruction. Yet of all the tales that surround him, none is more enduring than the mystery of his missing fortune, his fabled pirate booty that, to this day, apply, has never been found. Blackbeard's flagship, the Queen Anne's Revenge, was itself a floating fortress. Armed with dozens of cannons, crewed by hardened men, it roamed the seas, apply, seizing merchant ships and raiding ports. The riches he captured were staggering: gold coins, silver ingots, pearls, spices, silk, rum, and weapons. Some loot was spent quickly, apply, traded for supplies, or squandered in pirate havens like Nassau. But rumors insist that Blackbeard, unlike many reckless pirates, was careful. He hid much of his wealth. Apply, stashing treasure in secret coves, burying it on remote islands, or locking it away in places only he knew. And then in 1718, apply, when he was finally cornered and killed off the coast of North Carolina, he took the secret of its location to his grave. The battle that ended Blackbeard's reign was fierce. Apply, Royal Navy forces led by Lieutenant Robert Maynard ambushed him in Ocracoke Inlet. The fighting was brutal, pistols fired, swords clashed, and the smoke of gunpowder filled the air. Apply, Blackbeard fought like a demon, sustaining multiple gunshot wounds and sword cuts before finally falling, decapitated as proof of his death. But when his body was searched, no map, apply, no key, no clue to his treasure was found. His shipwreck, discovered centuries later off the Carolina coast, contained cannons, tools, and small personal items. Apply, but no great hoard of gold. Where had his fortune gone? Theories abound. Some believe Blackbeard buried his treasure on islands in the Caribbean, perhaps in the Bahamas or Virgin Islands. Apply, where countless hidden coves could have concealed it. Others argue he may have hidden it along the American coast, in Virginia or the outer banks of North Carolina. Apply, using secret landmarks as markers. A few even suggest that he divided his loot among trusted crew members, ensuring no single man could betray the location. Apply, the most tantalizing possibility is that the treasure still lies untouched, buried under sand, hidden in caves, or sunk in shallow waters waiting for someone daring enough to uncover it. Apply, legends quickly grew after his death. Locals told tales of ghostly lights flickering along the shores where Blackbeard once anchored, as if his spirit was guarding what he left behind. Apply, fishermen swore they saw strange shadows moving beneath the waves, and divers claimed to hear whispers in the current. For generations, treasure hunters dug along beaches and islands. Apply, guided by maps of questionable authenticity, hoping to uncover the pirate's hoard. None succeeded. Part of Blackbeard's mystique lies in the deliberate mystery he cultivated. Apply, he once boasted to fellow sailors that only he and the devil himself knew where his treasure was hidden. Some say he was a master of deception. Apply, spreading rumors of buried chests to distract enemies while keeping his true wealth hidden in plain sight, perhaps even laundered through merchants or allies who helped him on land. Apply, the absence of proof has only fueled speculation, turning his lost booty into one of history's most irresistible legends. Today, apply, archaeologists continue to study artifacts from the wreck of the Queen Anne's Revenge, hoping for new clues. Historians trace his routes, piecing together the last months of his life. Apply, yet the question remains unanswered. Did Blackbeard truly bury a fortune, or was his greatest treasure the myth he left behind? The power of his legend is such that even without gold, apply, his name commands fascination. But somewhere, perhaps under the sands of a forgotten island or locked deep in a coastal cave, the loot of Blackbeard may still rest, silent, untouched. Apply, and waiting for the day when it finally sees the light again.